Hello and welcome to our second Visual Studio C# lesson where we're going to be looking at for loops again. But this time we're going to be doing things a little bit differently. We're going to be putting an if statement into the for loop. So what we've done is we know we can modify this increment, but for this challenge you're not allowed to modify the increment. So the question is console.writeline, print out all of the multiples of 7 up to 100. So that would be 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, etc. So let's do a test. So you could have started at 0 and went I plus equals 7. So that is one way that you could have done that. But here we're going to do an if statement instead. And we're going to use a conditional statement that might seem a bit confusing to you at first. We're going to say I percent 7 equals 0. And first of all, equals is saying that it must be equal to. Okay, so this becomes a Boolean question. So is it true or is it false? So when we divide, even though it says percent, when we divide, it wants to know what the remainder is. Okay, so that's a little bit confusing. So we're going to run over to an Adobe Illustrator here. And instead of I percent 7, I'm going to do I percent 2 equals 0. And the question is, what is the remainder? So when you divide 1 by 2, it's 1/2, right? But how many times does 2 go into it? So this is actually this is a bit confusing. We won't even go to that one. We'll go into this one. So when you go 2 into 2, it goes in 1 times. 1 times 2 is 2. So the remainder here is 0, right? So if the remainder is 0 and we're saying it must be equal to 0, this has got to be true, right? Now when we get to this one, 3 divided by 2, 2 into 3, we go 2 into 3, and it goes in once. 1 times 2 is there, and we have a remainder of 1. So then this is false. And then when we divide 2 into 4, it goes 2 times, and 2 times 2 is 4, and we're left with a remainder of 0. So therefore, this one is true, and as you can guess, this is going to be false, and as you can guess, this is going to be true. Okay, so that's how this works. So we divide it, but it's not how many times it goes in. We don't care. The percent sign, it says we want to know what the remainder is. And in this conditional statement, we've said it must be true. Now back in our C#, we have said it must be divisible by 7 with a remainder of 0. So print out all of the multiples of 7 up to 100. And so I wrote up my for loop. Int I is equal to 0, semicolon. I is less than or equal to 100, because we want to know if it goes up to 100. And then inside here, we do a conditional statement, and this will only print out I with a comma and a space if this is true. So the first time when we check 0, in fact, we shouldn't check 0, we should start at 1. So when we check 1, the remainder will not be 0. And when it's 7, 7 divided by 7 is 1 with a 0 remainder. 8 will be false, 9 will be false, so on and so on until we hit 14. That will be true. Let's hit start. And it works. All right, now your challenge is to get this one done and then to do this one as well. So print all of the multiples of 3 from 50 to 98. And that's how you do challenge B in for loops. Thanks for watching.